Starting off with a good laugh, and we ain't even drink it. So, hi. Oh, excuse me. It is late. I was going to do the pick a prophecy tonight. That's not happening. And then it's going to be a non-sponsored video. And then I was going to grab a 312 Goose Island and use the Wild Unknown Tarot and Animal Spirits because they have swans. Well, I went to go grab it, and then I noticed this bottle of gin. Shout out to the Rare Gazelle. I almost called her Miss Reading Healings. Um, I bought this bottle of gin back a minute ago. Jasmine and Rose. It's called Bloom. It's a non-sponsored video. I always encourage you to drink responsibly if you are of age, wherever the law applies to you, whatever. I mean, I guess encouraging people. I encourage you that if you're going to drink, to do it responsibly. That's a better way to say it. I know, right? Well, because I was going to try to do like something like put all the hair in front of my face or whatever and just take a picture. But then I couldn't help but like laugh. I was like, hold on, wait, because I had another one. How are you doing tonight, Holly? I was like, oh, there you go. I need to get it retwisted. So yeah, and I'm gonna use. I have the Quantum Tarot here. I mean, I guess I can use the Quantum Tarot. Whew, excuse me. You had an amazing day. I'm glad to hear it. I got my water because I haven't had much water today, and I want to hydrate before I put any alcohol in me, or else it'll give me a headache immediately. Life is interesting as always. Something happened yesterday. That was, what day was that? That was 8/8. And today is 8/8. It's 8/26, which is 8/8. So was that 8/9 then? Or was that 8/8? No, I think it was 8/8 because it was 8/8 a.m. and then it was 8/8 p.m. when I went back into work. The one about the opportunity, right? So long story short, there's this person at work. This is just interesting. I moved the mic closer so that hopefully it echoes a little less, and I even adjusted the thing because I don't know how this works. And then I like scooched back. I moved it closer. I moved it more centered. So yeah, still closer. And then I like scooted back, and I'm leaning back in the chair, so it's relatively the same distance. But if I were doing this and it was where it is, then it'd be even more distant. So anyway. Excuse me. So I think I missed 8/17. I think. Like did I even post on 8/17? Was I live? Did I go live? Let's see. Because I thought about that before I went live. I was like, oh, I ain't even on 8. And then I thought it was 8/16 for some reason because I can't math. I'm too tired for math. Excuse me. What was like, I feel like I lost 10 days. Because I bought these cookies and it said Best Buy 8/15. And I was like, I just bought these. It was 8/25. It was yesterday. Oh, I was live 8/17. Wait, was that Patrick and SpongeBob? I was thinking about that earlier today. I think 8/17 was Patrick and Sponge Rob. August 17th, 2023. Yeah, because that was my first day off. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So Rob came through with the I don't even know where that video, like, why can't I see it? Like, that's so weird. Where do you live? It's this one right here. I don't know where it goes. Um anyway. Do 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 do. You'll do that one. Okay, so excuse me. I wasn't even yawning until I hit go live. Was he really? This Mercury season, retrograde season, Virgo season. I can't even think of the word that I wanted to use. Virgo season has been rough. And not like, it's just like work has been rough. But also, like I talked about it last time I was live, this is another reason why I'm not doing the Pick a Prophecy tonight, because it's like, I guess something that I want to, an experience that I had that I introduced or I attempted to introduce that I want to talk about, and I don't want it to influence, not influence necessarily, but like I don't need to make that video any longer. You know what I mean? I might do it pre-recorded. Excuse me, I might not. I might do it as a live, but do it with the chat turned off. I guess like, because the point behind that would be that like, oh, that's hilarious. I didn't even catch it. But it's also fitting. So I just finished the first season of the show on Netflix. And on the show, there's a prophecy. And the whole show, you go through the show thinking that the prophecy is going to be, it's the nature of prophecy, right? For anything set in a universe that is not like 2000 BC or 1000 AD, that has history, or just like where like prophecies so often don't work out the way you would think. And maybe it's more of a like a media thing. Maybe it's more like TV shows, movies, video games, books, novels, whatever, than like, you know, because there are retellings of, or there, like, while through like historical uh, retellings or stories of antiquity, we have, I guess, like, oh, they got a prophecy and it said this, but then that happened. I guess my point is like, you know, we should know by now that prophecy isn't always as, it just seems like it's rarely what we think it is. Or prophecy is rarely what the people think. So, oh, I am. Everyone's, I do miss all my day shift people, but the nighttime crew Like my lab mates, I like it a different way. Like the daytime people I can talk to about like video games and anime and stuff like that. The nighttime people, they're just fun to be around. But yeah, I've been able to, and even that one guy, like, I survived my first like near confrontational encounter or whatever, but that's fine. Um, it's actually one of the later, not nighttime, but one of the second shift crew people is the one that I was going to mention. But I'm watching the show, and in the show, there's a prophecy, and at the end of the first season, it gets fulfilled in a way that nobody expected. And it's actually because one person interpreted the prophecy in the way that everyone was. There was a general consensus on what the prophecy would be. Thanks, Holly. And because of that general consensus, there were some actions taken that were drastic. But the prophecy got fulfilled because that one person misinterpreted and made the choices and decisions that he did. So he sought about being the hero in the prophecy, and he actually became the villain. Like he acted upon the prophecy, and it was his own death that was foretold. That's why you got to be careful. Them oracles ain't your friends. The prophets aren't your friends. They're not your enemies either. But it's just like it's all like ego, and not even necessarily ego. Sometimes it's what we know at the time we get it that leads us to think of it in a certain way. And that again is why I leave the title cards and the blank cards and the non-tarot, non-oracle cards in the decks as my live life and find out cards. Because if I were to say anything, it would be so easy to misinterpret and then go on this branch timeline where where that prophecy gets fulfilled in the worst of ways. Oh my gosh. How did I never? Huh, interesting. Anyway, but before I finished the season, I didn't even finish the first episode because I was like eating. I woke up a little later today. Not obviously, but I ate and I was watching Netflix and I was like, oh, like I got some food on my stomach. I should go do the 3 prophecies. And then I kept watching the Netflix and then I finished the season. And like I literally just said, there was a prophecy in that series. And you get to also see like a piece of history or a reality. You get to see a side of reality that is hidden, of course, because it's like if you knew what it really was, then it's like one of those movie tropes, where the good guy is the bad guy, or where the bad guys are justified in what they do. And it's because they suffer persecution from the good guys. Anyway, things aren't as they seem always. Oh, I knew I grabbed a deck. Let me use this one. Because I'm drinking Bloom. I haven't even poured a shot yet. Because I'm drinking Bloom, it made me think of Suckloff, I think, Angel of Verdancy. And so I grabbed the Angelarium Year 2, although I think Suckloff is in the Angelarium Oracle of Emanations. But I didn't want to use that one, so. Or at least not yet. Then I was going to use it with the Angel Tarot, but we'll see. We'll see if we even get that far. I might just ramble well, I'm going to pull cards. I was going to say I might just ramble for an hour and then end it, but, I'd still pull cards. So yeah, I didn't even catch that as I continued to watch it. So maybe the time is not yet for me to even attempt to read Watch at Your Own Risk. Be wary of, not even wary, but be mindful of the nature of prophecy. But yeah, it was kind of wild. Even like until the very end. Like I didn't think that the prophecy would be fulfilled in the way that everyone thought it would be fulfilled because I was watching the show. And I was like, there's no way. Um, but I also didn't know if they would like push it off to season 2 or season 3 or season 4 since it's the first season, right? We don't know how long the show is going to run. We don't know how long we're going to be alive. Um, but by the end of it, I guess you could kind of, I guess I did. The events that happened by the end of by the time it's about to happen, it's not obvious, but it's not surprising that it happened. I did think that that would be a possibility, but I didn't think that that happening would be the fulfillment of the prophecy because prophecies oftentimes are cryptic and the riddle, and what was it? It came out in the Wild Unknown Archetypes when I was looking before and after the mirror. It was the puzzle and something else. I don't remember. Um, but yeah, I was like, oh, I didn't even think that that would be. But again, it's like how the character was acting. It's like, okay. Anyway, so since 8-8 opened this, we'll call it a gateway opportunity. It was an opportunity that I've talked about, but I'm going to talk about it again. I guess it was an opportunity that arose not for the taking, meaning it was an opportunity that came up. It led to conversations. It led to like me thinking about how my life would change and like if I wanted to change, how I want my um oh yeah, it is. I forgot. Oh my gosh. Oh wait, it's today. Never mind. That's today. It's only 1 o'clock in the morning here. Yeah, my half birthday is in 2 days, and then 2 days later, it's the blue moon in Pisces, the super blue moon in Pisces. So you're welcome. I'm kidding. I'm not the only Pisces on this planet. um, but yeah, so there was a like a gateway opportunity, I guess. Sure, let's do that. Um, watch my focus go right out the window. Excuse me. I'm trying to like keep the sleepy. And so when I end this, I can go to sleep. So I'm not up all night. Um, there was a gateway opportunity, one that led me to think about what I wanted to do in my own life and career. Um, it also helped me reach a point uh, where I can mentally and emotionally form a separation or a barrier, a boundary between like the things that I do for myself and like other people, right? Like if I take this opportunity, then there's going to be a gap that needs to be filled, right? It doesn't make me a bad person for, whatever. So there was a lot of that. There was also some other things in terms of like where I want to go and how that opportunity would have been a nice stepping stone or a nice bridge point, specifically in terms of decision making and me trusting my decision making professionally Because if I go where I'm currently wanting to, there are going to be choices and decisions that I have to make, and it's going to involve a certain amount of money that is way more than I have right now. And maybe more than, it's just the magnitude of those choices and decisions and how, like, the dollar signs being correlated to the size of their impact. You know what I mean? Or the scope of those decisions. And I was like, in order to build trust, not that I wouldn't necessarily, but to build it and for me to get comfortable, I can see this being beneficial in that way and many other ways too. But by the time I went to go take it, it was closed. And the day that it was closed is actually the day that I talked to this coworker. And so that was a few days after I heard about it. That was like the next day. No, because 8 a.m. is when I heard about it. 8 p.m. is when right time, right place, I met the person who's going to be leaving a vacancy that I would have been filling. And then it was my 4 days off. And then when I went back, I looked for it and I didn't see it. And I was like, oh, it's gone. And then that day, I talked to this coworker about it. And he's like, they're all in that area. And she was like, oh, like the day after I printed it off and handed it to you, it was closed. Like I went back and I was like, oh, okay, I'm glad I didn't like just miss it. And so again, that's the thing about opportunity sometimes, about how us, not necessarily me specifically, not necessarily knowing why certain opportunities present themselves when they present themselves. Could I have taken that as, oh, this door is closed forever. I should have jumped on it as soon as I got it. I shouldn't have blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Could it have been filled with like regret and this and that and a whole bunch of other stuff that's unnecessary? Of course. Was it? No. I feel like I've also gotten decent, even when I don't fully know it. I've gotten pretty decent at intuitively knowing when I don't know. Because I remember there was another situation that happened. It was a misunderstanding with a different coworker, and I was upset. I was mad. I was mad. And I remember talking. I sent my journey buddy a voice note, and I was telling her about it. And I think I told some other people, I'm sure, about it. And I was like, I can't believe like this person, like I was like, I never would have seen this coming from this person. How dare they threaten my very joy and reason for getting out of bed in the morning. But something in me like didn't feel right. I was like, I don't want to feel like this. Like, and I was like, I don't like, I'm so surprised that this person did that. And I don't want to feel like this, blah, 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 blah. Then the next day, I got some clarification and I was like, hey, like, is this what happened? And they're like, no, what are you talking about? And it was this whole other thing. And I was like, oh, and it also happened another time before too. And I was like, I'm feeling some type of way and I feel like I shouldn't feel like this. And I'm in tune enough with myself that I don't, like, if I'm feeling an emotion that may be unpleasant or whatever, I'm not going to go, oh, I don't want to feel like this. I'm not going to bypass my own emotions. And so through repeated circumstance fairly recently, I guess that's been my, hey, that I don't want to feel like this, but I can't help but feeling like this sense is there's like a misunderstanding here. There's something that you don't know. And that's the reason why you don't want to feel the way that you feel. Because if I was justified in feeling the way that I felt, I would very much so want to feel like that. Or at the very least, I wouldn't want myself to not feel how I feel in reaction to a situation. You know what I mean? If the feeling is warranted, then I'm going to feel it. But if it isn't, if there's a misunderstanding or if like the lines got crossed or whatever, and there is no reason for me to feel like that, that's when that feeling like comes in. That's when I get like unsettled in the feeling. And I had the thought to get clarification that day, but of course I didn't. And then when I got it the next day, I was like, oh, that's why I didn't want to feel upset or whatever. Because that conversation didn't even happen. Um, so, oh, I'm pretty good at that for the most part. But I think for me, again, it's because I'm honest with myself about what I feel. And because I go through the process of like, I mean, for the most part, I know why I feel the way I feel. I'm in tune with myself enough to know when it doesn't have any like basis or when it's not grounded in me. Because then that's when it's like, okay, that's somebody else. And I think that's also why like my empathic boundaries are a little more like sturdy or rigid, is because when I feel something, I know why I feel it. And if I'm justified, if my Taurus moon is justified in feeling the way I feel, then I'm justified in feeling the way I feel. But yeah, I know for some people it can be. But for me, like pretty much my whole life, I've been in touch and in tune with myself enough because I'm honest with me. I don't always do stuff or I don't always use that information productively. But for the most part, I'm honest with me about why I feel the way I feel, and I more often than not feel justified in it because I'm not the type of like I'm the type of person that can be slow to a lot of stuff. And it takes multiple things, multiple occurrences. I used to be a lot more and still am in a lot of ways a person of multiple reasoning. Like I gotta have more than a singular reason to feel justified in whatever. So when there's a whole case, when there's a whole list, when there's a whole Rolodex of things that I can pull from, I know why I feel the way I feel. Um, but yeah, I was like, something isn't right. Like I shouldn't feel like this. And then I got it cleared up and I was like, oh, okay. That's because somebody misheard and it's not what I thought it was. But anyway, um, so we had that. Oh yeah, because I was like that. Like it didn't feel like an opportunity, and like the thought did cross my mind, but I was like, yeah, and no, it didn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like I should have jumped on it because my reasonings for waiting and my reasonings for hesitation and everything that I worked through to me is extremely valid, and it's part of who I am as a person. And if other people aren't like that, then that's fine. Um, but for me, that's who I am. And like, there are some things that I don't compromise. I want a lot and I'm willing to do a whole lot to get what I want, but compromising myself is not one of the things I don't want. Because if I have to compromise myself to get something or to have something, number one, it's not mine. Number two, it's not for me. It's not going to be what I want. If I have to be less of me, or if I have to cut corners or shape and deform myself in order to like walk into it, it's not for me. It's not mine. That's a level of discomfort that I'm not willing to like. I can be discomfortable or uncomfortable where I am. But you know what I mean? But there was a few things to like tweak. And after much consideration and deliberation and consultation, um, I worked to the point where I was like, okay, because I also like I don't want to stagnate myself in order to not like leave a void and to keep other people like happy or comfortable or whatever. That's something that I'm not willing to do anymore. Um, so anyway, but Excuse me. Like as soon as I was ready to take the opportunity, it was closed. And then the next day it was back open. And by that time I'm like, oof. Well, by that time it was like logistics. And like this is how we typically we would like for an employee to be in the position they're hired into for 12 to 18 months before they transition into another one. Like 12 to 18 months in a role before you can transition into the next one is how it typically goes. Now, just because that's how it usually is doesn't mean that's how it always is. And were there certain aspects of it that were still enticing? Yes. But the important thing that came out of that opportunity that I could have spiraled on, like, oh, I should have jumped when I had it, I should have applied because blah, 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 blah. And I was told that it's basically mine because of how qualified I am and blah, 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 blah. Because I remember I was telling Rob about it. That's one of the things that that's mostly what we talked about. I was like, hey, Rob, you still slinging cards? He was like, yeah. That was right before we went live. So in that little break in between, I had that button. I lost it. Oh, yeah, because I told him, I was like, I don't want money to be the reason why I do this. I don't want more money to be my reason for doing anything in life. Is it nice? Yeah. Would it help life be more easy and comfortable and convenient? Of course. But if I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling, like if my heart is in a situation or I feel bad or whatever, like let's work through that and resolve that and reach that, like, you don't have to stall or stagnate yourself. Like that void, that gap will be filled. They'll have somebody else in that position by Tuesday. Right. And not like, oh, but think about the money. Think about this and think about that. Like, think about the stuff. Like, no, I don't know. Sorry. Um, so, yeah, after all that, I was like, okay. And then it came back up. But the thing was a conversation that I had. All of that led into a conversation. When the position went back up, I got an email. I didn't get an email the first time. But when it went back up, I got an email with an HR lady. The same HR lady that I've talked to about all of my like hopes and dreams and goals and ambitions for my life and my career and how I want those things to marry moving forward. And she was telling me about like even more of the stuff they offered. That's when she brought up, she was like, we're just starting these short assignments where for like 6 months to a year, if there's a location where like something is being done, like, and they basically need people to like start it up and get it moving. They just started doing short assignments. So you could do them remotely or you can move. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. She was like, okay, typically it's above your pay grade. It gives me something to aim for. It gives me something to shoot for. But at the same time, like, there's a question of like where I want to take my career, how I want to specialize, like things that I want to focus on. And one of the things, excuse me, that I noticed early on in this job and that I talked about was that it's like you have people who are doing the jobs that you want to do that job. Like there are people who are really into the things that they're into, and some of them, hey Kirsty, how you doing? Some of them are in those positions. Like when it comes to, because I work in quality, right? So when it comes to certain quality issues, like there are people who are really passionate about those things. And like even with sanitation, there's people who's like, this place needs to be clean. Like you can do this and you can do that to try to whatever, but if you don't clean with air, you can't clean anything with air. All you're doing is you're moving it, you're displacing it. So this may be clean, but now the mess is all out there. If you're gonna clean something, you might need some soap and water. You need the approved sanitary materials because not everything is necessarily soap and water accessible. Not accessible, but soap and water compatible. That's interesting. So anyway, um, so yeah, that's why like there are things that I'm like very passionate about. There are things that in the company, there are people like even the HR lady. She was like, "Oh, this is something that like I'm passionate about and I care about." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, me too." And I guess it's like, especially with short assignments and stuff like that, there were some positions that I was looking at before I got my last job, but I wasn't like qualified for them, meaning I didn't have the expertise that was needed to be of any service to somebody, right? Like, can I volunteer? Yeah. But there is like experts that are needed. So maybe in general, more collectively, we're all becoming experts in our own field so that we can step up where it's needed and we can go wherever, is for us to go. But we have to know how to do those things. Excuse me. Because otherwise, it's like we're just another person that can't really do much to help or who's limited in their ability to fulfill the not required requested role, right? Like if they're asking for doctors, if they're asking for surgeons, more specifically heart surgeons, and you're like a dentist, do dentists provide services that are very much so needed? Yeah, but that's not what's being asked for. They got people who need heart surgeries. you know could a dentist work their way around it? I'm sure. But who wants to be the person on the table getting operated on by the dentist who's like trying to figure it out? You know what I mean? And it's not a bad thing. When we all do the things that we're called to, then there's somebody for every position. It's only while we're trying to do or be something else that there's shortages and things like that. So anyway, oh yeah, that's and I guess it's a question too. It's funny because that's a question that my friend had brought up when I was in the UK in February. I think that was before he yelled at me for 2 hours. Yeah, that it was probably in the conversation leading up to him yelling at me for 2 hours. um, and it wasn't like he wasn't yelling. He was telling me the truth. He was telling me the truth about myself that I didn't necessarily want to hear, but that I needed to hear. And it was a truth about me that stuck with me, that like really stuck with me. And I remember talking to my journey buddy, and I'm like, it's been like days, it's been weeks, and this is still like, it's still here. That's another thing to like that Page of Pentacles that keeps popping up. Um, excuse me. That's another one of those intuitive or subtle things. That was actually the first one. Oh, not the first one. Maybe the first in this way, or in that way. That was like, I was like, why is this still sitting with me? And then I was like, should I be doing this? Should I be doing? Because I was like, there's the typical way of doing things. There's his way of doing things, and then there's my way. My way of doing things got me to where I am right now. It works for me. His way of doing things could have led me to the same place, but it's not about compromise. But it is. But it isn't. If I would have done things his way and gotten this opportunity, I could have been misled into thinking that his way of doing things is the way for me to do things as well. Also, in me doing his way, there would have been things in the in between that I could have missed. And it was another one of those, like, because I was talking to my journey buddy, And I was like, I don't know why it's sitting on me the way it's sitting on me. Like, I know that, like, that's not for me to do. Like, can I do it? Yeah, but it doesn't feel right to me. Like, that's not how I live my life. That's not my vibe. You know what I mean? But I was like, I don't know why it's still sitting with me. And I forget what she was saying. But she was just like, yeah, that doesn't, she was like, what? He doesn't want it. I was like, yeah, that's what he's telling me to do. I'm like, there's a lot of people who do it. And for a lot of people, it works. Could it have worked for me? Yeah. I'm not going to say no, it couldn't have, but it wouldn't have led me to the same realizations. I wouldn't be in the same knowing of me and myself and my relationship with the universe and pathways to manifestation, um, if I did it that way. But it was one day where it kind of sort of hit me, where it's like, it's not for me to do what he was suggesting that I do. It was for me to release the resistance that I have to a lot of this stuff. And that played into that 2 hour talking to where he was like, you dream up all these things and you mention all these things, but then you come up with 1,000,001 different reasons why you can't do it or how it's going to go wrong. And then ultimately you don't end up doing anything. And I was like, oof. And then he went on and on. And I was like, you made your point. Okay, I get it. But I guess it's also been a season of moving. It's been a season of like, when the inspiration, when the thought comes, do it, act on it, because you don't know how long that opportunity is going to be available. And again, it's different in different times. It's just a level of openness that I've had, and the things like I've been following my own discernment. And this is what I found. I'm only me, right? So I can be like, oh, like I can see how, like the way that things played out, it would have led me to believe that, or it could have led me to believe that. If I would have thought that, I would have been wrong. Because I lived a little bit of life, I found out, oh, like this is why. So the opportunity wasn't mine for the taking, it was mine for the asking and mine for the seeking. And in doing so, it opened me up to this whole realm of like, there are things that are happening right now that I didn't even know about. There's other things that are in the works that she told me about. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what? If I would have just applied for the opportunity and either taken it or not, I would have bypassed that entire conversation. I wouldn't know about all of the things that are just now starting and all of the things that are brewing and the things that are coming down the pike, because I wouldn't have had that conversation. Anyway, all of this is still leading up to the conversation that I had yesterday. I was like, I am not going to cry at work. I'm not going to cry at work. So there was that guy. And then a few days after that, if not the next day, it was after we have a little meeting basically at 9 o'clock. I mean, there are multiple meetings for multiple departments, but this one happens at 9 o'clock. And that's the only time I see this guy. So 5, maybe 10 minutes a day on the days that my rotation falls on weekdays. So like this month, next month, I might not see him because I'll be working a lot more weekends. But then the month after that, I'll be back on weekdays. But yeah, so I was leaving the meeting and then I saw that guy, and he was walking to do something. And then his printer had run out of time. This is also like the thing about timing and happenstance and being at the right time in the right place. Like all of this was right time, right place, right? I saw him and he's like, oh, I'm going to talk to this one woman about, this opportunity. I'm going to ask her. And then the next day, again, like I wasn't seeing him before then. Now I see him less often lately, but still often enough. The next night, we just so happened to both be down there This woman I literally just met the day before, and I just saw her. I didn't even know who she was or what her job was. She could have been like a random operator for all I know. You know what I mean? But I saw her the previous day. And so when he was like, "Oh, I'm going to talk to this woman," like, I didn't even get her name. I was like, okay. So then we're both down there at the same time. Then I was with her. Now there's like this little domino thing. Because first it was, we'll say A. A is the person that I know, or number one, my primary connection. A was like, "Hey, like, did you look at any of those opportunities?" I was like, "Oh, no, not really." And A was like, "Well, let me show you where they're posted. Let me show you where the land of opportunity exists, just in case." And I was like, "Oh, okay, sure, why not?" So we go to the land of opportunity and there's nothing. But he was like, "I'm going to talk to B. And B is going to, like, she'll let me know, blah, 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 whatever." So B in that same day, I don't know who B is. He just says a name. She comes up to the lab, and there's somebody else who I've met there. And so then the next day, I'm going down and I'm doing my before 9 o'clock thing. For the 9 o'clock meeting, I'm doing my preparation. And I'm down doing my preparation. And I see A, and B is also down there. And he's like, "Oh, this is B. B, this is Patrick, the one I was telling you about." She was like, "Oh, hey." And I was like, "Oh, like you were literally, like, I saw you upstairs yesterday. What?" So anyway, she's like, "Yeah, like, she didn't even tell me it was her position." She just said, "There's two open right now." And she said, "I'll print off the thing and I'll take it up to the lab for you later." I said, "Okay." And so that was it. I get the paper in my hand. I'm like, do I do it? Do I not do it? I'm talking to my mom. I'm talking to my journey buddy. I'm talking to my other friend. I'm talking to Rod. I'm like, I don't want money to be my motivator. Like, I don't want to I don't want to crush someone's dreams, you know? And they're like, "Hey, you got to do what you got to do for you. You got to look out for number one because nobody else is paying your bills." And I'm like, "Yeah, but come on. That's a cold way to be in the world, don't you think?" Anyway, I'm sensitive in some ways and very low on tolerance and patience in others. It's my Pisces Taurus dynamic. Or it could just be the Pisces in me, honestly. This is my two fish in Pisces. Um, anyway, so then later, I take my 4 days off after B prints me off the thing. I'm talking to Rob and everybody else. I go back to work and I see B. Now I see B a lot more often. Like, I wasn't seeing B before, but I go to the meeting and C is there. And C I've been seeing since I went to this rotation. And I was like, "Oh, hey, C is like really cool." There's something about C that's like, he has one of those familiar faces. So anyway, B and C are there, and I was like, "Hey, B, like, I was looking for that opportunity and it was gone." And she was like, "Yeah, like the day after I printed it out for you, I went back to see if it was still up and it was down. Like, I don't know if HR took it down or what." And C was like, "Oh, like, you were interested in the position?" And I was like, you know. So then a few days later, if not on my next rotation, um, I finished the meeting with C and I'm going back to the lab and I pass B. I never see B upstairs. B is always downstairs. But there's B. And I'm like, I say hi to B and I keep going down to the lab. And C's printer was on a toner. So C had to use the lab printer. And so when C comes down to the lab, he was like, "Oh, like, A, this is who A is." I was like, "Oh, I know A." Like, growing up, I saw A in the church, right? A is a minister at the church. He was like, "Oh." I was like, "Now, I ain't been to church in some years, probably a decade, consistently, well over a decade." I went on New Year's with my mom one year, and maybe another time after that. And so that was probably last week, but it was yesterday when I saw C at the meeting that C was like, and this is the thing that like it transcends religion and individual belief systems. Because C was like, just randomly at the end of the meeting, he was like, we're this close. It's like an outpouring of the Holy Spirit in a way that we've never seen before. And basically, he was like, a lot of people are like talking about the rapture and things like that. But for the last like 15 to 20 years, like I've been waiting for this time. He's like, we're this close of just like seeing the power of God's love like all over. And at first I was like, interesting. I mean, like, same, there's a whole bunch of like, in Christianity, it's the rapture. Everybody's talking about the great reset, the crumbling of the 3D, and we're transcending into the 5D. And so basically the rapture, but in non-Christian terms. But he was like, like I've been like seeing or feeling like just like this outpouring of like love and the presence of God in a way that we haven't seen before. And I was like, well, 15 to 20 minutes is 15 to 20 years is a minute. Like, this will be my 5th birthday. I want to do something for my 2nd birthday this year. But I don't know what. That's what I was going to do. Well, I am tentatively going to be back in the UK at the end of the year. So, Kirsty, you might be getting a call from me. Hopefully, we'll actually get tea and crumpets this time. Could you? I remember you said we get tea and crumpets last time, but then we went to that Italian place. I still haven't had tea and crumpets. And that's wild. I don't know. It is low-key wild to me how many times I get to make it over to the UK. Like I went from this once in a lifetime opportunity to being over there like twice a year. But we'll see. It's still like I put in for my vacation days. I have to see if they're approved. Because I'd be going to the UK and then a month later I'll be in India. So I'm trying to because I want to have more and I don't have to exist in a lack poverty mindset and consciousness, but it don't hurt to be aware, especially when you got bills to pay, because I got bills now. I just gotta, it should be all right because I don't typically spend too much when I'm over there, especially since I have a person to stay with and that helps cut down on costs, but it might happen this December. So, excuse me. I mean, as of now, as soon as she gives me the okay, I'll probably start looking at flights and I'll have to book out look at my days to see how many days I'm going to give myself being back. But since I work the night shift, and the UK is 6 hours ahead, then I'm I'll basically already be adjusted, kind of. So maybe work out anyway. So yeah, that happened. And then in the moment, I was taken aback, I guess. I was surprised because it kind of came out of nowhere. But after I thought about it a little bit, or after I realized what he had said, I got a little weepy. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not trying to cry at work. So we're not even going to think about it. We're not even going to talk about it. But it was just interesting. It was interesting. Yeah. Because he was like, I know a lot of people talk about the rapture or focus on the rapture, but this is what I'm feeling. And I've been feeling it for 15 to 20 years. I'm like, wow, I was 10 to 15 years old, 15 to 20 years ago. You know what I mean? So, ooh, that would be exciting. So that's why I'm going for the angels today, because of C. He was like, "Oh, so you like went to church right down the street?" I was like, "Yep." I grew up smelling this place on the playground in elementary school and then outside before and after church. It was just interesting. And again, it was like, and because he also mentioned, he was like, if you have a personal, intimate relationship with God, then like, I don't even honestly remember how he phrased it, but he mentioned having like a personal, intimate relationship with God and feeling that outpouring of love and the presence of the Holy Spirit more so than the rapture. Or at least, like, the rapture isn't what he chooses to focus on as much. And then there's the gate of Sahaki. I was like, oh, interesting. Because I literally just talking about that with the Hierophant. It came up in somebody's reading, but I think every time I see the Hierophant, I mention it too. Like the point and purpose of the Hierophant is to be an introduction to the divine, but eventually, at some point, we're to get to know the divine for ourselves. And when you get to know the divine for yourself, oh, there's the angel I haven't seen in a minute. With the angel of mist. Oh, that angel been in the veil. I used to see that angel all the time. Now it never comes out. I hope it comes out. Maybe I should take it. I won't. Virgo feeder appears when you film Eternal. Kirsty is the best host, honestly. I mean, I've made it to meet her and I've made it back alive, and it probably wouldn't have happened without her. Especially those first few times, I would have gotten lost. But now with the Elizabeth line is my favorite. I love the Elizabeth line, honestly. It's amazing. But yeah, like if you put me on the Elizabeth line, I don't know, because I even went, because it wasn't the last time, but the time before that, I had to get a COVID test like 24 hours before my flight back. And my friend, because he's the gracious host that he is, he's like, "Oh, put it in Google Maps, you'll be fine." I'm like, what if I get lost? What if I end up in another where is that where Google Maps don't work because the signal is so bad, but it's so populated, you would think it would be better, but it isn't. It's a few stops off. It's after Whitechapel, or I guess it's before Whitechapel. Tottenham Court, that's what it is. Um, the signal is terrible. GPS, you might as well go blind. You may get there quicker. I was trying to find trying to follow the GPS on Tottenham Court to get to wherever. But like you got I mean, if I could take that, if there was one line that I could have in the world, it would be that one. But yeah, like I can navigate and everything. Are you the angel that I was looking for? No. So Sukloth is the angel of new life. Cephlatus is the angel of dust. But I couldn't remember. Like I was like at Sukloth and Sukloth. But for some reason Cephlatus kept popping into my mind. And here's Cephlatus. Cephlatus built a growing collection of halls and spires that cracked the desert horizon, each one its own a jagged landscape. Every day, men would witness the angel's latest creations, and each night they would cheer as he brought them down. As this cycle became commonplace, the only fanfare came at their destruction. But what about the creation? And then Barbiel, Angel of Scorpio, is at the top of the deck. There are times when words fail and action must be taken, when trials beset our lives and no other course of action is available. We have to fight. The nature of this sign is to be an ally, loving in the easy times and harsh when the world demands it. Barbiel is our sword against the darkness. It is our power to strike back when necessary. So anyway, safe to say that Cephalus is not the angel I was looking for. I was correct in saying Suckloff. Well, actually, I'm pretty sure it's Suckloff, but now there's Sandalphon. And I'm like, there are so many angels that it could be. I'm still sure it's Suckloff. I don't even know if Suckloff is in this deck, though. Honestly, I can't remember. I think so. Yeah, Cinder Soft Earth, or was that in I don't remember. So that's why I'm using these. That happened yesterday, and I was just like, wow. You know what I mean? And again, it was the fact that because I feel like, I don't know how long this has been a thing, but growing up in church, since I was growing up, it's been like the end days, the second coming of Christ, the rapture. It's been the Megiddo movies. It's Left Behind. It's all of this stuff. But I've never, that may be the first time actually that I've heard a Christian mention an outpouring of the Holy Spirit and the presence of the love of God and the divine on earth, and on a scale that we haven't seen before, and it not like be all about the rapture. Just like there are many a person who's very like Great Reset. I mean, I guess the Great Reset can be anything, but it seems more like destructive. And the 3D is crumbling. If you don't ascend into the 5D, then you're basically dead because the 3D world is going to be whatever and blah, blah, blah. And I guess maybe it's almost like there's not enough awakened, enlightened, ascended love for the world as it is where it is. And so, yeah, the focus all goes somewhere else, and it never lands here because there's no one to put it in. Well, there are some folks, but the vast majority, burn everything and throw it away. So now, a little red solo cup. After an hour and nearly 3 minutes, I'm going to take my shot. I'm going to pull some angels because that's what we do on this channel. Alcohol and tarot and oracle cards. It's this gorgeous shade of pink. I should use the energy oracle cards. Oh, snap. What is that emoji? It's giving, like, it looks like the eyes. I can't. I love it. I think you're the only person that sees it. Wait, when did that happen? You pulled some cards yesterday? And he said it yesterday. It's in the air. It is eyes? That's eyes? What? Well, y'all know the eyes emoji is my favorite emoji. One of my coworkers said that the eyes emoji is her favorite emoji. And another one of my coworkers also likes the eyes emoji. So the nighttime crew is about the eyes emojis. Oh my gosh. I wasn't even paying attention. I promise I wasn't paying attention. Oh, it's the YouTube emoji. Gotcha. I promise I was not paying attention. I poured up my shot. Maybe that's why. I was like, oh, it's time to drink. I knew it without knowing it. Maybe my subconscious noticed it. The conscious mind didn't. I think this is the angel I was looking for. Suckloff, Angel of Verdancy, right at the top of the deck as I set it down and poured up my shot. That is the angel I was looking for, not the angel of dust. The wind passes the grass and waves, carrying with it the seed of growth, flowing across the landscape and burrowing into the cool soil. Plant life seeks the sky, and with it the dominion of Suckloff expands. Let your roots settle. It is the season for blossoming. The season for blossoming is why. Well, first I went to Bloom instead of Goose Island. I don't know if I've ever showed the bottle. It's a non-sponsored video, but you know, I'll show you this much. It's Bloom. It's this pink gin. You see, Bloom, and even on the top it says Bloom. It's the season for blossoming, blooming, tomatoing. That's the angel I was looking for. And behind it is Remph, the angel of time. And then Aziraphale, the angel of new song. Aziraphale is the one that mentioned Cindersoft Earth. Sandalphon is the angel of new life. That's interesting. That's actually hilarious. That's low-key hilarious that Sandalphon is the angel of new life, because that's the name of the church I went to. He's like, oh, New Life, like right down the street. I was like, yeah. Oh my gosh. No way, right? The flame that cracks its skin is the same as the fire from within, in alabaster form, folded like the steel of a sword, always pressing onward, the sharp beat of its heels, grinding the past into dust. Sophlatus, angel of dust, grinding the past into dust. Also, it mentioned a sword too. Barbiel mentioned the sword. And then Aziraphale, angel of song, the ecstasies above with thy burning measure suit, thy grief, thy joy, thy hate, thy love, with the fervor of thy lute. This is the one. I guess these are the two behind this angel of new life. And they're all looking in the same direction. There's Duma, angel of dreams. Duma used to come out all the time too. Duma's also facing the same direction. And then there's the Turiel, angel of the mountain, that was behind Barbiel. Cool. Something else came out lately. And it made me think of, I can't remember if it was, I don't remember what brought that energy. No, I do remember. It was the sacral, no, it was the solar plexus and the third eye. That's when I used the dice. And then after that, it was the heart and the crown. And that was the thing that was like, when the heart is open, there are things that can be received that a closed heart just isn't even available to like listen to. That's when I was using the dice. It wasn't that long ago. But I don't remember what it was. I was like, I'll use the white and the purple for these. And then the rainbow was in the middle, maybe. Oh, well, it's fine. Oh, I didn't even say it. It was that the heart, no, the solar plexus and the third eye energy. It was like a golem or Iron Man or something where you see the energy core, you see the color of the flame, and then it matches the color that comes out of the eyes. It was that energy. And I don't know if it was Reem's Sagittarius video or Reem's Capricorn video, but one of those, I think, it could have been something else. One of those reminded me of that. So now I will steel myself like that sword as I take this shot. This gin can be rough. Salute. Always drink responsibly if you're going to partake at all. You ain't got to drink at all. Sometimes not drinking is drinking responsibly, because there is no responsible way. for something to drink. Someone said there's no responsible way for any to drink, but did you see that? Now it's on my shirt. My shirt wanted to take a shot too. It's fine. Come on. Come on. Oh, I gotta wash my hands. I can't get gin on the cards. I'm gonna go wash my hands first and then I'll come back and take the shot. Bear with me one moment. Or don't. It's your life. You make your choices and decisions. Oof. Hey Google, turn off sofa.
All right, turning sofa off.
Thank you. I left the light on in the other room. I call it sofa because it's right next to the sofa. So, you're busy sober. You're extra busy with alcohol. I just like to have a good time. You know what I mean? I'm kidding. All right, I'm ready for the shot. I'm ready for the shots. Should I like black box it so you can't see? It's fine. I'm an adult. I drink responsibly. Well, for the most part. Actually, not bad. Excuse me. Excuse me. It's like in my throat. I'll have the quantum tarot right here. All right, Suckloff. How are we going to do this? Are we going to do this before and after? Yeah, we'll do before and after. I mean, we've already seen. Look, there's the horn. Judgment time. Is that? Yep, Pinamue. There's Duma again. All right, I'm going to stop lying. I'm going to do these a few shuffles. I'm going to cut it. This is what I'm going to do. I'll close my eyes because I don't want that to influence when I stop. Do I take this card? Sure. No, I'll look at it though. It's Duma, the Angel of Dreams. That's the Duma that I keep seeing. I can't read this. Languishing aloft, the Master of Dreams. I can almost read it. Let me put on my glasses. Let me put on my readers. Languishing aloft, the Master of Dreams roots, rests in repose. Oh, you can't even see it. It's fine. Now you're wearing the drunk vision goggles. Maybe you should slow down. You're having a little too much fun. Languishing aloft, the Master of Dreams rests in repose. Among the stars it makes its nest. Swathed in silver and gold, an untold truth is to be spoken aloud, lost to the chiming of a bell. What? An untold truth is to be spoken aloud, lost to the chiming of a bell. Interesting. Right? Interesting. Okay. All right, there we go. I'm going to split this into 3. I'm going to grab some tarot and I'm going to put cards under these 3. I'm using the quantum tarot, so we'll see how this goes. And I guess I was just like, I can't remember if it was before that or after that. I think it was after that. Because I guess it's interesting. I don't know if it's everyone's experience, but it's been my experience. But also, my experience has been one of not believing that the spiritual journey is cold and long and lonely and dark and dreary and all of these other things. Partially because it's been my experience to have a journey buddy with me from 5 years ago to now. And in all of our iterations of growth and healing and everything, maybe it's because we're just amazing. There's the Ace of Cups. But it's because of that I've never, it's never been my experience to have a spiritual journey that's long and cold and lonely and dark and all of those other things. So I never believed it as truth. That was my privilege in connecting to those that I've connected to and the ways that I've connected to and how I show up and how she shows up and how, anyway. I've had so many people, so many friends, people I've grown up with on my Facebook that are on the journey too. Some even going as far as making posts hey, can someone recommend a book for shadow work? You know what I mean? There are so many people who are talking about it. And even again, C is a Christian. Oh my gosh, I didn't even plan it. C was just the 3rd person in the chain of events. But even in that, again, to be more to be more aware of, I don't want to say the coming of his glory, but the overflow of divine love and presence more so than the rapture, especially growing up. It's revelations, it's left behind, it's the rapture, it's the end of days, it's the ends of times. It's you better get your heart right so you ain't left behind, so that you get raptured. But for him, it was different. Anyway, I saw a picture of one of my friends. One of the people I grew up with, but I'll call her a friend. On her swing set, she was and she was talking about healing her inner child one swing at a time. And then she was photo credit to my 7, 8, 9-year-old that doesn't even know they're helping me heal right now or something like that. And again, I've had so many people that I've grown up with and I've gone to school with, and I've met some of them. I've had the fortune to share presence with them and just to see it. But that's kind of what I'm about. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's not my personal philosophy to ascend the 3D to the 5D and leave everyone and everything behind or whatever. I'm not so cold or disconnected or self-motivated and self-interested and self-absorbed and self-obsessed and self-everything. Not to say that other people are, because we all have different paths and different journeys, right? Someone has to open the door. Someone walks through the door. Someone widens the door. Someone drags people through the door. Someone invites people through the door. Someone stands at the door and is like, My path is my path, my journey is my journey, but I walk my path believing that the world will change because of it. So I'm basically like, instead of manifesting like a house and a car and a dream and like a partner and all that stuff for me, I manifest the entire world that I live in. I manifest it for everybody in it. You know what I mean? So anyway, yeah, because I saw that post and I've seen some other things. I see it on, and for me that's social media. So I don't have that same, like. Are there some things on social media? Yeah. Is social media always amazing? No. But if I were to cut myself off of social media, I wouldn't be able to witness all of the people that I know and love and grew up with who are also on their own journeys. I wouldn't see that magnitude of change happening like in my life and in the lives of people that I know and care about. You know what I mean? Basically, long story short, this is an hour and 20 minutes of me walking my path the way that I know is for me and how that unfolds and how I do my best to remain open when I get an inkling or a feeling or as I live life, because I know that I don't know a whole bunch of stuff. And I know that there's a few things that I'm comfortable with. The star. We got the star, we got whatever this card is, we got the Three of Cups, and we got the Six of Swords. I don't want to use this deck. Honestly. Is that the king or is it the knight? I can't tell. Yeah, I'm not using this deck. This is too much. This is way too much. I might not use any more cards. Shoot. I don't know what deck I would use. I don't want to use this one. These are the cards that came out, though. If you want to see them, there may be something in here that resonates or fits for you. Ah, there we go. There's something interesting going on with that star. That's the Two of Pentacles. It was the Two of Pentacles and the Lovers. I'll use the SKT. Which one am I going to use, though? Of course, I'm going to use the SKT. Duh. Bottom of the deck is the Magician. The Magician came out recently in the After Tarot. And it was the one that was holding on to the candles as above, so below. Rather than the Magician that holds on to one of the tools, that Magician didn't hold on to any of them. They all floated in the air. Interesting. I don't know when I'm going to use this deck or what I'm going to use it for. Please tell me that's not the page. It looks like a pawn. I think this is the Page of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. I'm done. I'm not going to use this deck, Page of Pentacles. Okay. Sure, why not? Page of Pentacles is like everywhere. It's about new beginnings, right? On Earth. I think I'll use the Revelations edition of the Spirit Keepers Tarot. I need to clean all these up. I just sit them right here. I mean, I guess they're fine. Did you really? I feel like It's telling me to take another shot. I don't know if I actually see too many of them. There's one of them that I watch, and there's plenty that I plan on watching, but I'm never like in a position to watch them when I see them. And then I don't really use my watch later playlist, so I always forget what video I was gonna watch when I have time to go watch a video. So there's a lot of videos that I've wanted to watch that will probably remain unwatched unless the algorithm sees fit to have them cross my feed when I have the time. All right, this shot is for the SKT. Excuse me. That's the last one I'm taking. Unless Miss, why did I do that? The rare gazelle herself shows up. Why do I want to keep calling her Miss Renee Healings? I feel like I really made that mistake in a minute. That's my ring juice. All right. I probably should have used the Vitruvian edition because the Two of Pentacles is the Nocturne. But this is the one I'm going to use. So, yeah. I'm stubborn. I'm stubborn AF. But my guides love it, right? My angels and ancestors, they know me. They know he's stubborn AF. I am. It's true. I don't hide from it. I don't deny it. I said, if we work together, we work together. Oh, maybe I shouldn't use this deck. So there were these birds in the Quantum Tarot that may remind me of this. Also, the star came out, and she's feeling like an embodiment of the star on Earth. Like the water that the star pours out from the heavens is like falling out onto her hands. The grotesque. Maybe I should just go to bed. Excuse me. I feel like this is about to go somewhere, and the title card is here again. I feel like this is about to go somewhere that I don't know if I'm necessarily trying to go tonight because I got my sleepy Justice, the Chancellor, and I'm not trying to lose it. I'm just trying to make sure I don't put reversals in this deck. I love her. I love her so much. She's honestly one of my guess. Look. You want to see something? Guess what card just made an appearance? Guess. I'll give you a hint. It's not the Page of Pentacles. You see that? It's the Two of Pentacles. Two of Coins. Not the exact card I was looking for, saying peekaboo. Apparently that's the vibe tonight, though. I set down the deck, I pour up my shot, Sophlatus, the Angel of Verdancy, is right at the top. I was like, oh. This is literally that star. That's one of the things that was interesting about the star in this deck, is that they were level. When I look at a Two of Pentacles in a deck, I look at how far, oh, look, right there at the bottom of the deck. I look at how far Um, like how much higher or lower the relative unlevelness of the pentacles. See that? Interesting. Should I keep it out? No. Am I going to regret it? Maybe. I honestly forgot about all of this when I was like, I should have used it. Like, this was the only thing in my mind when I was like, oh, maybe I should have used the other two of Pentacles. Maybe I should have used the other deck. I completely forgot about everything above whatever this is. I don't remember. Jupiter and Capricorn, which is interesting because it's been Sun in Capricorn. Saturn and Sagittarius, Sun in Capricorn. Okay. Oh, there's two more. Oh, we got two more cards. The Two of Wands and the Eight of Swords. Jupiter and Gemini, Mars and Aries. The Discerning One and the Captor. There's a lunar eclipse in this Captor. The Captor and the Vitruvian edition is the angel that's been tied up. This is why I was like, maybe I should have used the Vitruvian edition. Because there are so many like divine energies like present in these cards. And I'm just like, how do I read that? I was like, I don't feel like dealing with it today. But I'm not gonna switch decks. Bottom of the deck is the Scarlet Shield. We've been seeing a lot of that. I've been seeing a lot of that bird and the snake energy, where order wins out over chaos. I know Eve's birthday is maybe, I don't think, it might be September 10th. It may be earlier. There was one year I remembered most of them. Oh my gosh, I read Virgo season. I didn't even say happy birthday to all the Virgos. Happy birthday, Virgos. Today is my coworker's birthday. The one that I was like, I don't want to disappoint her. Because she's been covering my shift since she's been covering this shift since January. And her life has been, yours is September 10th? Oof. Okay, well, I remember the date, right? So Eve's is it still in September? Oof. I'm trying to think. I can't remember. Okay. Like the 4th. September 4th. There's the Chancellor again. Oh, snap with the Ivory Shield. The Ivory Shield in the Vitruvian edition specifically is my card. She's my shut your mouth and mind your business card. She's my ain't nothing to see here, keep it moving card. She like the don't say a word card. But because she's coming out with justice, the Chancellor, whose scales are also even. There's something about these energies that's very wackened. Oh my gosh. You see that? There's an energy behind the energy. I don't think I've ever noticed that. Is it a dragon? I think it's a dragon. Qinglong. Is Qinglong a dragon? I don't know what Qinglong is. Qinglong. Let's Google it. Qinglong may refer to azure dragon representing the east. The azure dragon in Chinese is one of the dragon gods who represents the mount or chthonic forces of the 5 regions' highest deities. It is also one of the 4 symbols of the Chinese constellations, which are the astral representations of the Wufang Shangdi. Probably butchered that. The azure dragon represents the east in the spring season. It is also sometimes referred to as the blue-green dragon, green dragon, or the blue dragon, which is Zhang Long. Xiao Xiao Tong Zhao Hua Jian Suo. I think the C makes a sound. Zhang Long. Zhang Long. I don't know. Interesting. I would have had to heard Qinglong somewhere. Seiryu in Japanese. Interesting. Hold up. Okay, anyway. Right? I'm like, hello, hi, focus or not, it's fine. You don't have to focus. We're not going to force focus today. But anyway, this 2 of Wands, the discerning one. Come on, I'll give you something to focus on. Focus on that, please. Maybe I got too close. Qinglong is like, I'm not done yet. All right, fine. I saw a dragon somewhere earlier, or something mentioned a dragon. You mentioned a blue-green dragon. I got a blue-green dragon for you. I'm going to get one of these dragon oracle cards to see if there's anything Qinglong wants to say. Qinglong's like, yeah, pull the dragon card. That's what you're seeing. So maybe when the camera gets blurry, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Psych. I do what I want. And my spirit guides left me for it. My ancestors are like, this one. This one is too much like pick an ancestor. Too much like all of them. I am my mother's son. I am my grandmother's grandchild and my grandfather's grandchild and my father's child and his parents' grandchild. I'm the product of all of those who have come before me and the predecessor of all those who have yet to come. I feel like a lot of people be like, oh, my ancestors this and my ancestors that, and I'm carrying all of this ancestral baggage and blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah, well, what are you going to do for your predecessors or for your ancestors, for those who, your progeny? There you go. What are you going to do for your progeny? You going to be another no good ancestor for them? Or are you going to step up and do the work? Kidding. It is convenient, though, having someone else to blame for why. It's fine. We ain't even got to go there. It's like, when was that full buck moon? The buck stops here moon. Somebody got to do something. Gosh darn it. I guess don't nobody got to do nothing. That's the beauty of Earth. Earth and water dragon creates the foundation for new growth. Saphlatis? No, not Saphlatis. Suckloff. Already forgot. A fresh start is coming with new opportunities. Nurture your ideas and harvest the abundance. This dragon fell on the floor. Something about crescent moons. Crescent moon. Oh, it is right here. Oh, now it's on the floor. Now I don't know none of these cards want to stay in my hand. Everything jumping. Crescent moon and Duma. Orange dragon brings soul families and communities together. Spread belonging, warmth, and oneness. Bring people everywhere together. All right, let's put them back. Let's shuffle it up. Fall on the table, not the floor. Let's do that. I could also use the Ravenous and Drake on it. I feel like I'm getting so. Oh, maybe not. All right. Who are you? I think another dragon I haven't seen. Golden Solar Dragon helps you stand in your masculine power with wisdom. Let your DNA be reprogrammed and light codes activated. Become an inspired leader. Bottom of the deck is the Silver Dragon. Illuminates your potential with higher light. Access untapped resources. Look into your soul. See higher possibilities. With the Lilac Fire Dragon under that. Transmutes through the power of divine love. Open up to transcendent love and enlightenment. Purity of heart brings peace, hope, and joy. What's interesting is we have this golden solar dragon and this silver dragon. I know I've been live for quite a minute, but if you don't know why that's interesting, let me give you a refresher. Oh, our angel swathed in silver and gold that just fell on the floor. That's why. Swathed in silver and gold. Golden solar dragon, silver dragon. Cool. All right, Ching Long. Like this dragon is red, so it ain't even necessarily blue, but I guess it's also shrouded in foggy. Bezalel, is that his name? Was in the Chazakiel's fog. Maybe that's where Bezalel's been this whole time, and that's why Bezalel stopped coming out. So anyway, the thing was, it feels like as we're living our lives, making our choices and decisions in the dark and the light at all times, we're being watched. Universal witness lives inside of us, and it is very alive. So it feels like spirit is approaching, or some aspect of the divine is drawing closer in those areas and aspects, or because of what we've exhibited, right? And that's justice with the ivory shield. Because this ivory shield looks like she's actually presenting a cup rather than the Vitruvian one that's like, who gives me the stare down? Then we have our triquetra Celtic knot with that riddle energy. You have 6. Oh, look, I cut to the exact same spot. The Chancellor and the Ivory Shield. It's deserved. The heart is as light as the feather. Or it's close enough. Justice slides down that blindfold. She's like, I ain't close enough. But that also came out, it was the Knight of Pentacles and the Six of Wands that were flanking the High Priestess. I also thought about that one reading with the High Priestess and the Empress the other day. I don't remember why. But that energy of the High Priestess reading the manual, like I don't often do this. Like it's been a minute since I've done this. Let me refresh. And the Empress was standing there and waiting. This card is like, it dropped on the table and started like spinning. Who are you? Are you upright or in reverse? I don't know. In reverse, the Hierophant. There comes a point in time where we get to know the divine for ourselves. That was also on that Page of Pentacles. I think it's a page. Yeah, that's where I've seen it. That pentacle up in the sky. Trying to go to bed soon. Trying to actually rest on my off days. So I'll feel rested when I go back. And the Emperor at the bottom of the deck with the politic here. The politic is three masculine energies gathered together. Helps you stand in your masculine power with wisdom. Helps you stand in your masculine power with wisdom, golden solar dragon. Helps many stand in their masculine power with wisdom. And then the keeper is behind that. Interesting. I'm still trying to split this into 3 different things so I can look for suck off. Let me close my eyes so I don't get distracted. I am trying to go to sleep tonight, not necessarily trying to be live for 5 hours. Who are you? Even when I close my eyes. The Magus, the Magus. Just saw the Magician, didn't we? Number 1 in the Quantum Tarot. Maybe I could have kept using the Quantum Tarot if this many references to it are going to come out. Now, this Magician isn't holding any one of the tools in particular either. Because you see the 4 elements just sort of like floating. Mercury, water, salt, and sulfur. And it's also one the Kitsune mask. Little trickstery. But not necessarily. That's not even at the bottom of the deck anymore. The Tower is here. And next to, and then the Golden Shield is behind the Tower, Sanctum of Splendor. The shields are coming out too. Ivory Shield, Queen of Cups, Golden Shield, Queen of Wands. So this is the snake. The Silver Snake. Silver Dragon was illuminates your potential with higher light. Access untapped resources. Look into your soul. See higher possibilities. Well, one is silver, one is low green. Maybe the green one is the Azure Dragon. Qinglong. Who's the silver one? This is Mars and Mercury. Mars and Mercury are both in Virgo right now. Mercury retrograde, Mars probably going to go into Libra at any point now. Mars is direct. Venus retrograded. Venus been stuck in Leo. Mars is like, meow. There's light and then there's lightning. Excuse me. I'm gonna close my eyes again. No jumpers, no nothing. Trying to get these shuffled. That's when I'll know when the cards are done and I can get on with this. Ooh. One more. As I try to hang on to the sleepy, but not fall asleep on camera. We'll do two more. Oh, gosh. The Chariot and the Empress. Venus and Cancer. And their major arcana too. That's a chariot drawn by sphinxes. I mentioned that. How there were a few decks that I have where the chariot is drawn by sphinxes. This is one of them. And there's our Empress. There was a sign that confirms your mad life. The energies are definitely interesting. We just had Mars. Oh, we just had Mars. It was Mars and Mercury. Now we have Venus and Cancer. And then before that, we had the Hierophant with the Emperor. There's like a lot of major arcana energy. Like it's a big deal. It was an unspoken truth, an untold truth that is about to be spoken. Oh my gosh, Sandalphon is right here. Oh, Sandalphon is not who I'm looking for. Sandalphon, Angel of New Life. Upon fertile ground, life stirs and stars called from the shores. Our children come home. The beginning of a new life. Farewell to the old one. Which one was it? Was that the Angel of Song? No. Angel of Dreams. Duma. It was Duma. Right? Yeah. I don't know why I didn't see it the first time. Maybe I looked at the wrong card. An untold truth is to be spoken aloud, lost to the chiming of a bell. The reason why untold truth energy is coming up is because one of these sphinxes has eyes but no mouth, and the other one has a mouth but no eyes. Can you see it? You know, focus. This is as steady as my hand is going to get right now. You can't even see the eyes. And they both have crescent moons on their heads. Now you can see the eyes. Cancer rules the moon. And so maybe that's the full moon in between these two. Because we see a waxing and a waning crescent. Okay. Hey, Matthew. How you doing? It's been a minute. I'm so ready to go to sleep. Wait, Uranus retrogrades on my half birthday? Oof. She released the second edition of SKT3. I wonder if we can get those additional cards. I might send her a message. It'll be James. Stop! Can I shuffle the deck like 3 times without a card coming out, please? Hold up. Something interesting is going on here. Moon in Cancer, the hollow void. The sun in Aries. The sun rules Leo, but it's exalted in Aries. So this is a moon that's domicile and a sun that's exalted. The Chariot came back out. First, the Chariot was with the Empress. Now the Chariot is with these 3 masculines in the politic. The Chariot is about the balancing of forces. So I guess to see the Chariot come out with feminine and masculine energies isn't surprising, especially when the Chariot just came out in the Virgo season read as representing that balance of forces. Much better lately. I'm glad to hear it. I am worse. I'm kidding. I'm just tired. I'm tired and I don't know how to rest on my off days. But I'm doing well. Best I've been in my life. So, Okay. From this moment forward, any card that comes out just isn't going to be a part of the reading. I'll just set you to the side. If you want to come out, do so in the right way. Because I'm ready for bed. All right, let's see. 1, 2. Ooh, you see this? You see this? Three. We have the 7 of Swords at the bottom and the Ace of Swords of 1. The High Priestess at the bottom of another. And the Haunt, 9 of Swords in reverse at the bottom of the first. There's actually a card between the 7 of Swords and it's the title card. 7 of Swords, title card, Ace of Swords. Interesting. This High Priestess also has a crescent moon, but it's behind the, High Priestess, the politic, the Chariot, the healer, the lovers. 4 out of 5 of the cards that I see at the bottom of this are majors. And this is a meeting of emperors, so it carries a major energy in it. But it's the waxing to the waning. We just saw the crescent moons in the Chariot, which is literally right here. How do I do this? Like this, like this. Oh, now you can't see there you go. So this high priestess, where do I start? I'm gonna look for Suckloff in these three halves, not in the first one. So we start with Sandalphon, we end with Semyaza. This is actually interesting. We start with the angel of life, we end with the angel of pride. Oh, and then there's the crescent moon. Of course it is. That's the high priestess crescent moon, too. Not the crescent moon of Doom, angel of dreams. Upon fertile ground, life stirs and stars. Called from the shores, our children come home. The beginning of a new life, farewell to the old one. These actually match really well. As the angels sang, a single speck of something passed through the light and cast a tiny shadow down on the earth. Beneath the stars, that shadow looked back at the heavens and saw himself for the first time. He gave himself his own name and turned his back on the existence he'd been granted by the universe. One by one, Semyaza called out for his brethren, and they bowed to meet him. He was the giver of names, Lord and King. There was to be none before him and none after. So we have the angel of new life, and then we have the one who comes into some kind of self-discovery. The angel of pride. So top and bottom of the tarot, we have the Nine of Swords in reverse and the Five of Pentacles. This is giving an energy of like no longer lamenting that which one knows that they need to do. Maybe there's like people that we need to cut off, or there's a job that we need to, there's like a situation in life that it's run its course. But it's like we'd rather be surrounded by people that we don't like or people that don't like us, or we'd rather be, it's like anything is better than being alone type of energy, even if it's not great. It isn't a matter of liking and disliking. It's just like it's not good for the self in whatever way. Job, people, whatever the situation is. But with the Nine of Swords in reverse and the Five of Pentacles upright, this is the energy that'll do it anyway. Because it's like it reaches that point where enough is enough and things can't continue on as they've been going. Even if you may be alone or unemployed or whatever. Take that one as it resonates, of course. You know, because we still got lives to live. But that's the one that's not afraid to be alone, especially while they embrace their authenticity and who they really are. Both of those cards mention a past life, a previous life that no longer is. Both of the angels. So now let's check the middle deck. We're looking for, Satloth. Oh, this deck has both Gabriel and the Horn. Oh, but it came out this way. This card was at the bottom or the top. There's Saphlatus, Angel of Dust, right after Gabriel. Semyazas in this pile too. There are two Semyazas. So we have the back half of this angel and Hamaliel, angel of Virgo. This is the top and bottom of the middle. That's almost giving me Duma silver and gold energy. Almost. Angel of Virgo, and each person hides a gift that they have yet to give to the world. Untapped potential rises just below the surface and is withheld until the moment is right. This reservoir of energy stands in wait, holding a very special sort of power through its hidden nature. Hamaliel embodies that secret wellspring that flows from all of us. There's the horn on the other side. There's a lot of like unseen, untapped, hidden energy throughout all of these cards so far. Access untapped resources, Silver Dragon. Maybe that's why the Eight of Swords is here too. But what's interesting about this Eight of Swords compared to most, or compared to the traditional Rider-Waite Smith, is that this Eight of Swords isn't blindfolded. And maybe that's because of the discerning one. Because it's not an Eight of Swords that uses its physical sight. It navigates by its intuition and discernment. It's an Eight of Swords that's at peace where she is because she knows that something is coming. That eclipse up in the sky could very well be related to that Qinglong energy. It might not even be Qinglong. Qinglong is just the name that popped into my mind. I had to see it on some anime or playing games or something. So we have the High Priestess at the top and the Shining Gale at the bottom. Knight of Swords energy. I mean, it feels like this Shining Gale Knight of Swords is carrying word from the High Priestess. Or this Knight of Swords might think themselves the main character, the star of a prophecy from this priestess. The interesting thing about it is, though, that this Knight of Swords would not be incorrect. And it's because it's under Hamaliel, Angel of Virgo, because it taps into its untapped potential. And because it realizes those things about itself, it is the one that shows up at the heart of the gale. You see that ruby? That's that moon. It's a portal to go and rescue this captor. Rescue. To go and approach the captor at the very least. Interesting. I guess what's also interesting is that instead of the horn, being presented as that judgment call, it's this side. Like we haven't even seen the face of this angel. So here must be our Sukloth, Angel of Verdancy. We have Verkiel, angel of Leo. As adversity washes against us, we rise with those waves. Each moment in our lives where we are challenged by the world, we challenge it back. To be bold and in control is the nature of Verkiel, the ruler. This sign brings with it the courage to bring shining light into a world that struggles against the darkness. Barbiel, angel of Scorpio, was also a sword against the darkness. So let's get our Sukloth on. Sukloth. Sukloth is in between Rimph, angel of time, of course it is, and Zuriel, angel of Libra. Bottom of this one is Azazel, angel of sacrifices. Tonight we pour the water from our bowls, the warmth from our hearts, and the breath from our flock. We bring an end to these necessities, not for their destruction, but in their honor. For in their absence, we can truly see their glory. Glory, sacrifice, valiance, valor, bravery. Excuse me. Oh, look. Oh, that's Remiel. Never mind. I was going to say, oh, look, it's the other Rem. So, top of the deck is the Rogue Moon in Aquarius. Bottom of the deck is the Shining Waters. Another night. What would you imagine that? There's a lot of swords here. 9 of Swords in reverse, Knight of Swords upright, 7 of Swords. Waves of the Undine. Oh, look, they look like the same person. They look similar. I guess the rogue thought this would be some Samson-like story. You cut all the hair off and they lose their power. The hair is just hair. But I guess it's great at revealing Delilah's. Imagine her shock when Samson still retained all his strength. Oof. Imagine Samson's shock when he still retained all of his strength because he really thought it was the hair. All right. Rent angel of time, the flame that cracks its skin is the same as the fire from within, in alabaster form, folded like the steel of a sword. Always pressing onward, the sharp beat of its heels grinding the past into dust. All things have opposing forces. The rotations of the celestial bodies show us a macrocosm of our own swirling internal relationship. Zuriel is the regulator of these forces, weighing their value and attempting to find balance. Is this Libra season? Oh, look. That's almost the fire from within. It's the entire solar system. This is what flanks our Sukloth Angel of Verdancy. The wind passes the grass and waves, carrying with it the seed of growth, flowing across the landscape and burrowing into the cool soil. Plant life seeks the sky, and with it, the dominion of Sukloth expands. Let your roots settle. It is the season for blossoming. That's our Sukloth again, in case you forgot. Or you didn't watch that part, you skipped ahead or whatever, anyway. It's almost been, it's 2 hours. Oh. I gotta close my eyes because the title card is in this. The kindred, Mercury and Cancer. Now we see our feminines getting together. We didn't see the masculines like twice. There's this again. See, it's almost coming through as it has to be prophecy. It's like the words of the high priestess, whatever this writing is. But also the kindred come together in search of basically a prophecy. They seek a vision in the water. They each get their own vision. The masculines get one vision in the fire. They see it from multiple angles, views, and vantage points. I need at least one more. If I close my eyes for too long, I'll fall asleep. Maybe? Oh, there we go. Thank you. Ooh, 2 cards. So the grotesque, bottom of the deck, is the dark horse, Mars and Leo. Mars almost conjuncted Venus and Leo, but then Venus went retrograde and Mars kept going. This one is, well, it's hard to say if it's more active. This is the bottom of the deck. I'm trying to focus. You see it? Can you see it? Does that help? Does this actually help focus? Maybe not. I don't know. So the grotesque fell mostly on Zuriel, and it fell like this. A corner of it touches Renth, Angel of Time. And then there's, this is interesting. There's like this parallel here that touches the Vagabond 5 of Coins, the Haunt in reverse, 9 of Swords in reverse, and the Shining Gale. Like over here, this card that's face down, and then back here, and like they literally came out parallel. They're both angled like this, but more like this instead of like right on top of each other. So there is still a parallel, but it's not like a straight up and down or a straight across. It's at an angle. If I had a compass, I could calculate the angle and use that to dig deeper into the message, but. The grotesque, Mars and Scorpio, is covering again Zuriel and Sukloth with the corner on Renth. Who's face down? The defector, Saturn and Pisces, 8 of Cups. Yeah. So again, it was covering mostly this, like, just knowing that it's time. It doesn't matter if everything isn't figured out. Take this as it resonates. I ain't telling nobody to uproot their life, especially if your own intuition, discernment, guidance, knowledge, wisdom, and everything else ain't telling you to do so. And just because you want to do so, don't necessarily mean it's time. I don't know. That's outside of my realm of things. You can do what you want. It's your life. But like this is that regardless, because it's better to be not in the situation than in the situation, even if it risks something that is very much so undesirable. And then the Knight of Swords is here. The Knight of Swords under that Hamalyle, the one that realizes their potential and taps into all that remains undefined. It's almost like in those environments, areas, and situations that it would have never come to pass. It would have never come to be. There would be parts of potential that remain untapped. Potentials of self, possibilities of self, and of life that remain unseen. Maybe it's a super negative environment. Maybe it's toxic in some way. Covering that is this 8 of Cups, is literally walking away. And another crescent moon, because of course, why wouldn't it be? This is the crescent of Duma and not the crescent of the High Priestess. Now, somebody had the crescent of the High Priestess. Right? I know they did, because I mentioned it. Samyasa, Angel of Pride. In the Witch's Tarot, it's the 4 of Cups and the 5 of Cups. The 5 of Cups in the Witch's Tarot shows a mermaid. And the 4 of Cups in the Witch's Tarot, there's a mermaid with a person. But it's just like the mermaid next to the 5 of Cups. And then this person. Is that like Hermes or Horus? Who that is? And then the person walking away there. And again, the grotesque is self-love and self-acceptance. Embracing the thing that makes us different and unique rather than shunning it and trying to hide it in order to fit in. And I think sometimes too, when it's messages like that, we think of fitting into society at large, but we could also do things to try to fit into a niche group or to fit in with other people who would consider themselves to be outcasts or pariahs or black sheeps or whatever. Black sheep or whatever, right? It's almost like if you weren't a cool kid and so you go and you join the hipsters or whatever because you find more acceptance there and they hate certain things, but you kind of like it. But you pretend that you hate it so that you can fit in with this group of people that also don't fit in with those other people. So you're still not being true to you, but I mean, I guess these people are more tolerable than the other ones that openly hate you or openly make your life miserable or openly make fun of you or bully you or tease you or whatever. But as long as you do that, there are things about the self that still remain unhidden. Not unhidden, that still remain unseen, that still remain hidden. Because it's still inauthentic. It's inauthentic for you to pretend that you like something that you don't and to pretend that you don't something that you do. It goes both ways. It cuts both ways. But, we also, as humans, balance the human condition and the desire and need for community and love and acceptance and other things. So sometimes when we find even a modicum of acceptance, we take it regardless of the risks and the sacrifices. It's a choice and decision that we make. And the kindred is just like to each his own. Everyone gets their own prophecy. Everyone gets their own way forward in the Three of Cups. There is time for Three of Wands energy. There are these things that we work forward and we work towards as a collective. But then there are also things that we do as an individual. And I think it's individualism that's also sacrificed in that trying to fit in with the other black sheeps. Which is almost a little ironic because with a lot of the hipster crew and crowd, it's like they're being unique and individual and Aquarian or whatever by buying into counterculture, basically. Because as soon as something becomes popular or as soon as people come, it's almost like, I don't know, I don't have to get into it, it's fine. But the dark horse is the one that stands in their authenticity regardless, loved and accepted or not. And because they do that, they attract true and genuine love and acceptance because they don't pretend either way. Sanctum of Treasures, the ebony shield, is behind that. And then the Tower and the Warrior and the Archangel Commander and the Archangel of Glory and the Ivory Shield and the Champion are all behind that. Can you even see any of these? Right. No. And under all that is the Outlaw and the Holy Grail. The one that finds themselves sometimes alone, and in doing so, become immune to this devil energy. It's the one thing that devil energy is missing. It's the weak point in its armor. It's this Ace of Cups that presents itself to the Outlaw. The Outlaw is water, the element of water. Traditionally, now modernly Neptune, and by rulership Pisces. See how the Ace of Cups is missing? Well, here it is. Present it to the outlaw. Present it to the one that's not afraid to go at it alone. And it's not because we end up alone or that's our destiny. It's because, again, it's just like it doesn't. Some things are worth it, some things aren't. And we all make that choice and decision for ourselves. So there we go. But we navigate it with wisdom. Golden Solar Dragon says, be wise. If it's unwise to make a scene and to strike out on your own and to do whatever, be safe, But also know that there are resources for a lot of things in a lot of places, not necessarily everywhere. I recognize that fact. Ooh, the Wheel of Life with the Sphinxes. These Sphinxes got full features. And it's 4 of them. Oh, look, there are the scales. All right, it's final card time. It's bedtime. It's been 2.5 hours. I might as well have done the Pick a Prophecy. Pick a Prophecy will be the next thing I do, I'm pretty sure. All right. Revelations SKT. Ooh, Ace of Wands and like 5 other cards. All right, you can come out now. You can jump out. I know earlier I was asking for cards not to. So I saw something on the internet. The Golden Shield, Sanctum of Splendor at the bottom of the deck. Again. No, it's the Scarlet Shield. When order overcomes chaos. This is giving me more prophetic energy because that's what the writing is coming through as today because of the priestess. But there's this eclipse happening in the back. You can see it. And there's all that writing on the shield. That's that prophetic energy. The Bereaved, 3 of Swords, Saturn and Libra. Angel of Libra. Zuriel came out. Already put it back in the deck. Zuriel came out with Sokoloff, Angel of Verdancy. I'm glad to hear it. Oof. I hope I sleep through the night tonight. I hope I'm asleep for like 12 hours. Okay, maybe not 12, because in 12 hours I got something to do. But at least like 10. Semyaza, Angel of Pride. It's the one we've seen. As the angel sang, a single speck of something passed through the light and cast a tiny shadow down on the earth. Beneath the stars, that shadow looked back at the heavens and saw himself for the first time. He gave himself his own name and turned his back on the existence he'd been granted by the universe. One by one, Semyaza called out for his brethren, and they bowed to meet him. He was the giver of names, Lord and King. There was to be none before him and none after. Semyaza is Semyaza, and everybody else is everybody else. And then here is another friend, I guess, another angel that we've seen, angel of sacrifice, Azazel. Tonight we pour the water from our bowls, the warmth from our hearts, and the breath from our flock. We bring an end to these necessities, not for their destruction, but in their honor. For in their absence, we can truly see their glory. Again, it's that standing on your own 2 feet type of energy. I mean, it's not standing on your own 2 feet for the sake and purpose of being alone. because loneliness doesn't bring much of anything either. I mean, it brings its own challenges and hurdles and feelings. And sometimes for some people, it may be better. They may feel, and because they feel that way, it may be better for them to be in a situation that's not great rather than for them to be alone, or rather than for them to be lonely, not necessarily alone. It's life. It ain't necessarily one size fits all. But it did talk about giving up and sacrificing a lot of comfort. Is that Aries? Is that the ram? Oof. I didn't he grabbed the ram by the horns. I didn't even notice that earlier. Excuse me. South Node is in Libra right now. North Node is in Aries. The bereaved Saturn in Libra is again the card that came out. So I watched something on the internet maybe. Somebody said that Venus is becoming the morning star. I was like, okay, so that is Inanna Ishtar and all of those other goddesses ascending from the underworld, like more complete and more whole because they've explored those depths of themselves and they've integrated down there whatever they needed to integrate down there. This is that Phaeton, graduating and being able to pull his father's chariot, you know. What's interesting is here too, I guess you could take it however you see it. Are the clouds clearing in this Three of Swords, or is this bleeding heart about to be obscured? That goes back to almost what I was saying earlier about knowing why we feel the way that we feel about things. Sometimes we can be so avoidant to pain that we don't know really fully why we feel whatever type of way or what happened to influence something. Like we can have responses and not even know why we're responding in a certain way, or not even know that we're responding to anything at all because of how the brain can block certain memories. Now, I ain't telling nobody to go poking in the dark without a licensed professional or a trusted support network and stuff like that. Now, a whole bunch, you may watch a video, you may even watch me in a particular whatever and go poking in the dark because that's what some person pulling cards said or whatever. That's what you got to do to ascend into the 5D. But sometimes you go unsupervised, you may find a thing or two that'll really have you in a certain state of mind. I'm not a licensed therapist or a professional. I'm not even an unlicensed therapist or professional. I'm just another dude pulling cards on the internet. There are certain things, especially for some people that have been through traumatic experiences, where it's almost like it would do more mental harm than good to poke around and like find them and relive and re-experience them without a support network. Some people can do it. Some people can hack it. Some people can handle it. Some people can manage it. Some folks can't. And we've all gone through different experiences, and we all have different tolerances and different makeups in the mind, heart, soul, body, and everything else. All of our chemistry ain't necessarily the same. But the words are written on the wall here too. I've never seen them before. But you see, if it'll focus behind her, they're like hieroglyphics. This makes me think of the Nine of the Mind that's in the foggy labyrinth. And because of the fog, they're unable to see that they're standing right in front of the exit. So if the smoke is clearing here, then it may present itself. Bottom of the deck again is the golden shield. Maybe it's that sanctum of splendor that awaits. Oh, there's the high priestess. Who's that next to her? The herald of the flame. Is that the one about awakening? Yeah, awaken the brilliance. So when you awaken the brilliance, I guess the light that shines from that healed heart will illuminate. It's like it'll cast out that fog, and then you'll be able to see, basically. But I almost wonder if that sanctum of splendor lies on the other side of this wall. Again, it's like it's not focusing. So you can kind of see it. There's like hieroglyphics written in lines behind her. And then there's that prophecy energy again, because those are reading this prophecy today. Excuse me. See, I've been going too long. I'm starting to wake up. I'm starting to get a second wind. No. I'm the type of person, it seems, that if I don't go to bed, like when I'm feeling it, especially when it's starting to come down, I'll hit a second wind and then I'll be like up until that wind. And then I'll get like a third wind and a fourth wind and a fifth wind. And by the time I want to make it to sleep and go to bed, I've already had so much wind in me. I can't stop. Silver lunar dragon at the cut with the lilac fire dragon. So we've had our golden solar dragon and our silver dragon. Now the silver lunar dragon is here. Bathes you in divine feminine light. Come into balance and practice peace, harmony, and cooperation. Expand your causal chakra. Expand your causal chakra. Let your sacral go wild. The less it means, the better. Golden orange dragon. White gold dragon from Lyra. I'm kidding. I feel like it didn't need saying or mentioning. I mean, hey, follow your own intuition, guidance, and stuff, right? Some people need that. Some people are wired that way. Some people need that in order to get them to or through whatever, right? All of our paths are different. Far be it from me to say what anyone else's is, or even what mine is, because something could happen tomorrow. And I mean, technically, it would be the same path. Have you ever been down the street and there's like a sudden sharp turn or whatever, but it's still the same street? Have you ever been down a road or a highway that winds and twists and turns, but it's still the same road and highway? It's just different at different points along the way. All right. Come on, dragons. What dragon wants to say goodnight? What dragon in the Dragon Oracle wants to say good night? Are these the size of Lafruma? Maybe almost. In the mystical shaman. Of course. Of course. Bottom of the deck is the Earth Dragon. Clears your path and the land around you. Stay grounded. Be ready to serve. Stack energy is clearing. You can move forward in life. Serving looks, darling. Anyway, the card that came out is the Golden Christed Dragon. I mean, we've seen so many golden dragons. We were talking about sea and the outpouring of love the outpouring of godly love. So what other dragon would it be besides the golden Christed dragon? Probably the only dragon that mentions Christ in some way. Brings you higher love so that you embody the Christ light. Absorb the Christ light, you are protected. Expand your heart and remain fifth dimensional. Stay fifth dimensional, folks. All right. Well, excuse me. Nearly 3 hours later, 2:40, and I'm ready for bed. Oof. There we go. So I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path journey and what you find, I hope that as you find those things, you remain open, or that you find an openness to learn and see and discover what they mean throughout any iteration of the journey in which they are relevant. Sometimes it means something significant and important to us at one point in time in our lives, and then as we live and learn a little bit more, it comes to mean something else. Sometimes even more significant and important, sometimes just as significant and important, and sometimes less so. Thank you, Kirsty and Holly and Matthew. Excuse me for stopping in. Happy birthday to the Virgos, and I will catch y'all with the pick of prophecy tomorrow or Sunday or Monday. But I'm pretty sure that'll be the next video I do. Pretty darn sure. But I could be wrong, right? It'll be whatever it is. You know me. That video may never get done. I might forget about it before I remember. No problem. Good night. Bye.